Okay, welcome back guys. This is the last part of the Shilva DLC guide. Yes, it's that simple.
Yep, so now we will obviously be starting off by just immediately doing Sinh.
Yes, because he's back to back with Alana.
Now, Sinh requires definitely a different strategy than from Alana, and he is weak to dark, believe it or not. So that's what we'll be using. We're using a dark halberd that we have from the main part of the guide.
Yep, and of course we're going to be using our dark weapon buff. Won't be using the Leo ring, but we will be using Flynn's ring, because Flynn's ring gives us 50 damage regardless of infusion.
Don't think I use it actually.
Do you not? Why the fuck not?
Don't know. We'll see what I use. I can't actually quite remember what my setup is.
But of course we're definitely going to be using that dark weapon buff because we want to do as much damage as possible, so we got to get our catalyst back on.
Oh, apparently I do use Rob Flynn, so fuck it. So
I wouldn't use the Rob part, but I'd definitely use the Flynn. I'd definitely use the Flynn. I think Chloranthy ring might be better in that case, just because of the stamina recovery.
Oh, I change it. Never mind.
Oh.
I'll use Life Ring and What am I even using? Oh, right. Yeah, okay. I took...
Royal Soldiers off.
Yeah, because I'm below 70 anyway, so yeah. Now, there's
ideally you want to be below 50 because you get better stamina recovery at under 50% than 51% and higher.
Yeah.
Which is, or 50.1% and higher, which is actually kind of handy. It's like your stamina recovers like a half second to a second quicker, like for the full bar, which does, I mean, it's not really a big difference in PvE, but it can save you.
Now, we recommend using halberds for Sinh simply because halberds also have a big, wide, swinging hit arc. Now,
and a high swing arc on the R1.
Despite the fact that he's massive, he can be incredibly difficult to hit. Now, what you want to do here is wait for him to bait out that first attack and then just run in towards his legs, and that's how you get in some cheap damage straight to begin with, because he'll always do that first headbutt.
Sinh has a lot of aerial moves. He has this one here, which is a dive, pretty easy to dodge. He has one where he uses a fireball, which I think we're about to see here. Yep,
there we go.
There's the fireball. And he has one more where as he flies over you, he basically flame breaths the ground. And all his attacks, by the way, they do fire damage and they build up toxic, so poison moss is a good thing to have just in case.
Yeah.
Because poison moss also gets rid of toxic in this game.
Now, what you saw there was... Now, he can spend a lot of time in the air, which makes this guy an absolute pain in the ass. Now, if you just run straight for him and try to hit him, he will almost every time immediately just try to fly away.
Yeah, but if you get about that range, you can bait that attack and then you get right in. Like, I would have, if you'd have went the right way there, what you'd have been able to do is get right in against him, you'd be able to running attack into his neck, and then you could have get behind him and maybe get a hit in.
Now, basically that is how you take care
That's
of him.
the other aerial attack.
Yeah. That's quite difficult to dodge because it's got a big wide.
You have to be
hitbox.
sprinting, and you have to be like sprinting sort of towards him at a very like it's like horizontal but slightly towards him.
So what you saw there is when he lands, you want to stay about maybe 5 to 10 meters away from his face. Now what that will do is will bait out the headbutt attack, which is essentially how you get him to stay on the floor while you can hit him.
That attack there, sorry. You seen him lift his front leg. When he lifts his front leg, he's going to do an attack where he fires down the side of him because that's where you are, so you can hit by that. So just roll towards his tail and you should be fine.
Yeah, so I mean basically baiting out the headbutt is the main strategy. As you can see,
or the fire breath attack.
There we go. Bait it out, then you run towards his arse. Now other weapons can be quite hard to hit, and if you're using a greatsword weapon or something like that, it has a lot of stamina usage. But if you're just using the halberd, you can just get in between his legs and just start swinging wildly. You don't need to be locked on, you don't need to be accurate, you can be sloppy as fuck.
And what you just seen there is going to be a massive problem in the higher NG pluses. When Sif jumps back, shockwaves apparently do damage to you. And in NG plus 7 when I was doing it, he was taking off like 3/4 to 4/5 of my health at a time. You got to be really careful with that. And it does stun you, so it can sort of fuck with you. Now, Sin's Soul lets you get Yorgh's Spear, which is a lance twin blade hybrid. Is pretty cool, but the problem is it's a lance with a twin blade poise break, which is insanely bad. It has 15 poise break on a weapon that barely fucking hits anything. It's not great, it's very heavy. Its scaling is actually alright, its damage is pretty good, but it's still the fact that a weapon that heavy has such little poise break isn't exactly beneficial. You would almost be better using a lance in every single situation.
So we are travelling back to here, which is that bonfire, which you can see where we are.
Yes, the second bonfire in the DLC.
Now, we also picked up Yorgh's ring. That gives you, if you equip it, it gives you like a 50% chance to deflect magic attacks.
It's somewhere between 15 and 50%. We don't know for sure because there's just no way to tell that without actually finding out what it does. But
it's a cool ring, regardless.
It's pretty funky. It can throw people off. It's saved me a few times from getting last hit with a Soul Spear or Forbidden Sun or something like that. So it's kind of cool just to have that random chance of having spell parry automatically kick in for you. It's pretty handy. Apparently, if you put it on, everything you parried with would have spell parry, but that's apparently been proven false. Yeah. So just in case any of you guys mentioned that, as far as we're aware, that's proven untrue. I thought it was true up until just a few minutes ago when Tony told me that that it's been posted on Reddit that it doesn't actually work. The guy's posted footage showing that it doesn't.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange. I mean, regardless if you've got a spell parry shield and it's probably not going to be a bad thing, but
yeah, because if you miss the spell parry, then Yorgh's might spell parry for you instead.
Yeah, exactly.
But we all know spell parry is fucking useless because you gain nothing from doing it other than flashy antics, I suppose.
Yeah, if you could parry it back and hit them, it would be amazing.
Oh yeah, if it turned it into your own spell, that'd be phenomenal. I'd like it if they used Forbidden Sun and it was you treat it like ping pong, where you just cut the bottom of it and it gets this massive curve on it. That'd be amazing.
So this is now where we use the Sanctum key that we picked up in that room.
The room that has all the Ghost Sanctum Knights with all the pieces of armour to break. Now there's a lot of chests here. Only one of them matters.
Yeah, because the rest of them have fucking dried root in.
One dried root, 2 dried root, 3 dried root, 4 dried root, and a lightning clutch ring. That's what's in these chests.
Now, what the lightning clutch ring, well, it's kind of right. Basically, in the short version is it will give you more lightning damage on your weapon, but only if it already has lightning damage.
It will add 30 lightning damage. No, it's even if it doesn't, it just adds 30 lightning damage. If it has lightning damage by default, it adds 40 lightning damage or something like that. If it didn't and you've infused it, it adds 15 or thereabouts. But if it had it by default and you infuse it, it adds a higher bonus.
Yeah.
But this is also at the cost of 80 off of all of your physical defense, if I remember right.
So I think it's part of your magic defense as well. So.
No, it's just physical defenses that get reduced. So I mean, that's really good if you're a tanky faith build. You can sacrifice some of that excessive armor for more damage.
Yeah.
Stack that on with Flynn's and Ring of Blades and Sacred Oath, and I suppose you've got a pretty mean sunlight bladed weapon right there.
Yeah, I mean we use it for a bunch of different things.
Dragon Slayer Spear.
Yeah, being one of them.
Yeah.
But I mean it's probably quite good if you're using it with lightning infused Haid.
Watcher's Sword, a Defender's Sword.
Yeah, something like that.
Haid Lance. Any weapon that comes with lightning by default would be really good. Haid Sword is really, really good with it because the Haid Sword's so quick, it's so light, it's got a really nice R2.
So anyway, coming up here leads to a very interesting weapon, which is, it's not a weapon technically, but it's the Sanctum Shield, which also casts hexes.
Yep, doubles as a hex caster. Now you're wondering, where is that useful? Well, you can buff the shield, and it gains 100% physical block and loads of elemental defenses. It's a casting tool, which means that you can really fuck with people. You can combo your shield now into your attacks with stuff like Soul Greatsword, which we're going to pick up, or Dark Greatsword, which we're going to pick up later in the video. So there's a few interesting builds with it. Check it out.
Now, with this guy, what you actually want to do immediately is just push past
light the bonfire and sprint straight ahead down that gap. Just sprint straight ahead down it. Trust us, you'll land on a ledge, and when you land on the ground in front of it, he will go home. So you don't even need to fight him, and make sure you light the bonfire, because once you've lit the bonfire, when you land down there, you can use an Aged Feather, and that's you. You're back at that bonfire, he won't invade again, problem solved, don't need to fight him. But this is Rock Shield Balder. Very tanky. I suppose he's aggressive, and of course he's got a spear, so he's kind of a pain in the ass to deal with.
And he chucks Estus at you. However, if you stay on this platform, he doesn't actually come onto it.
He chucks Lloyds at you.
Yeah, he chucks Lloyds.
But that doesn't matter because you can heal with Life Gems, Divine Blessings, Miracles. You can do whatever you want.
But we will show you in a second what we were talking about with the running down. I don't actually have footage running down and him going away, but you have to.
Alright, so we've got footage of the drop.
Yeah.
But yeah, all you want to do is just light the bonfire and do the drop we're going to show you once we get rid of this guy, or once you get rid of this guy. And that will pretty much take care of him. Plus, it's a shortcut technically to Dark Greatsword, which otherwise you'd have to beat the next boss to get. Which
actually no, what they intended to do is that you would go down this as a shortcut and then you can just walk off the platform. but you can just roll off and drop on. Like you'll see once we do it. Sorry I take so long killing this guy. It was like I don't even know what the fuck I was doing.
I'm gonna see if we get any information on what it is that he drops. If he drops anything, I have a feeling that it's probably gonna be nothing. Let's see, where is it? Rock Shield Boulder. There he is. He drops all stone if you're in the company of champions, so the same as every red phantom.
So coming down here, basically what you can do is you can just run off the edge and
you will land here.
There. You don't need to actually take it down. And there's also some torches, but this also leads to it's kind of like a secret room when you come around here, and this will lead to the Hex Dark Greatsword, which is like Soul Greatsword, except it fires a big beam as well.
Yeah, so. it's like a combination of Soul Greatsword and the Moonlight Sword one-handed R2.
Yeah.
It fires out like the little beam disc. The issue that there is with Dark Greatsword is it's like 60 intelligence, 22 faith to use it.
Yeah, it's
It's a really high stat requirement, but I swear to God, like, if you're going above like level 150 and going to level 200, Dark Greatsword does insane amounts of damage when it hits. I've hit people for 1600 damage on one single cast. Now, well done.
Don't let that happen. But regardless, I'm back here now. So I just died to like totally stupid shit when I was doing this. But anyway, right. So now we're going to the optional area, which honestly,
gonkers.
There's almost no point in doing this particular part.
Right, let's tell you why, first of all, why there's no point in doing it, and then we can get into the details of the area. Your reward for doing this area is a flower skirt. It's shit, it just has high durability. And it has reasonable fire defense. That's pretty much it. And if you're a man, it comes with trainers. So, I mean, if you want to go jogging, then I suppose it's the perfect outfit for you.
Now, there is a few okay items down here that you may or may not want to invest in if you can be fucked. But basically, the game equates difficulty with just launching a whole bunch of crap at you.
Yeah, it's not great. The reasoning behind this, from what the community have decided to try and believe to make it like not as bad, is that this is the area designed for co-op, because this is where you would be summoned into if you don't have the DLC. So in order to do that, they increase the amount of enemies so that you then have to divide and conquer.
Now, if you can't be fucked with this area and just want to go straight to the boss, this is the path that you take.
Yeah,
you just drop straight down and it is like
straight ahead on the left.
On the right.
On the left.
No, you drop down and then you go to the wall and then take a right and then you can back down here, and that's how you get there. It's not the left.
But these things here, now remember the poison ones from earlier? Yeah, these are petrify versions. These are the ones that if they build up your stats bar too much, you will turn into stone and come back hollow.
And die instantly.
These guys drop Twinkling Titanite. They drop Promised Walk of Peace, which is this game's version of TWOP. It slows both of you in this game. They drop the Lightning Clutch Ring, Human Effigies, and they also drop Triclops Snake Trotches, which are for increasing petrification resistance, and they give you a cool little black mist aura.
Don't we get Promised Walk of Peace elsewhere?
Yeah, you get Plop in another part of the DLC.
Yeah, but I've not picked up. Check.
Plop?
I think you might actually get it after this area, come to think of it.
You probably will.
So, there's like 4 paths that kind of slightly branch out from that middle chamber, and each path also has like sort of 2 prongs, and only one of them will have items in it, as you can kind of see. So here's like one path there which has items.
Yeah, we did get it. It was next to the fucking repair tree.
Ah, yeah, that was it.
That was the hex.
So, as you can see, that was the other path which doesn't have an item in it. And then you come over here, and then here's another 2 paths, and this one on the left has item in it. Now this one actually has 2 bright bug, so that's quite useful. Because that's obviously good for defeating bosses or whatever. So if you're having an issue, just grab the bright bugs. The bright bugs are almost they're almost integral for defeating the boss that's coming up if you want to do it solo. And you do want to do it solo if you don't have non-NPC summons, by the way.
Yeah, unless you're summoning a friend and you know they are good at the game, then you're gonna have a hard time with randoms.
Yeah.
They tend to get a little fucked up. I'm gonna mention something, by the way, about Promise Walk of Peace, which is kind of hilarious. It increases the equipment burden of the caster and the people in the radius by 40%. You could go like a super light build with a katana, and you could make them fat roll, and you could just fuck them up with a katana with that. I mean, that's a good reason to put 30 intelligence and 40 faith in, is if you can fuck them up like that, right? 2-handed dagger with stone ring and they can't get away.
So here we are in like the total dick move part. So this is like the last stretch to the boss.
Yep, shitload of petrified statues, a couple of those, is there not a couple of wall huggers in here as well?
Yeah, there is like an item, but
it's garbage. It's in a fucking, essentially if you went there to try and grab that as a speedrun, then GG, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because everything gets there. There's loads of Sanctum soldiers, there's loads of these little petrified guys, and you're about to see the fucking cave worm thing pop out, I think.
Yeah,
there's
one of these bastards.
Hello. Same strategy as the rotten area, just get in like right next to the base of where they're coming out of the cave and you can freely attack them.
So honestly at this point, all you really want to do is before you come down here, like just get your summons out of here, just black sign them out. See, this thing here, by the way, like just sprays petrify shit on you. So what you want to do is actually just get your summons out this place, use the black sign them out, and then just run straight to the boss fog, because this area is not worth like doing quote unquote properly.
It's not worth the item, no. There's a lot of stuff here that is stupid to kill. Like the Sanctum Knights aren't really a problem apart from these fuckers that are the same as Spear Halls who can block and attack at the same time. It's really the fact that the petrify statues are more of a nuisance to take care of than a problem. You have to hit the base of them or nothing happens.
Yeah.
If they get close, you can get petrified, which is a pain in the arse, and it's all for something that's not even worth it. The boss ends and you get something that isn't worth it either.
Yeah, the boss doesn't give you anything.
This is probably the part of the DLC that I hate the most.
Now, the issue with this boss, as I'm sure you'll probably know, is it's literally just a gank. You are against 3 NPCs. Now, so the problem with NPCs is that they always have retarded health. These ones don't have that high health in comparison to other NPC invaders, but if you have 2 of the NPC summons, they have crazy health and the summons are fucking useless.
Yeah, it's like these guys essentially combined have the health of about 2 bosses. But if you summon 2 people, that puts it to like the equivalent health of 3 bosses. You need to kill 3 each of them becomes its own boss fight, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
So you're going through a gauntlet of bosses. Now, the strategy for this, first things first, take out this little fucker with the great bow, because the worst thing ever is getting pancaked by Havel like that, standing up and then getting smashed in the face with a great bow while the dickhead with the katana starts wailing on you.
So another issue is that the katana guy can bleed you quite easily actually, and if he does bleed you, then you're slowed and then you're just going to get ganked even more off these guys. They knew what they were doing. They just were just like, this would be funny, lol.
The only saving grace you have is that you can only be attacked by 2 of them at a time.
Yeah, that seems to be a
how they're
thing.
programmed. Yeah, it's strange. Like even if the guys get the great bow out and Havel and the guy with the I'm just going to call him Havel because it's easy to recognise who I'm talking about. And I'll call the other one Alva because he's wearing Alva set. But yeah, if Havel and Alva are standing in front of you and the guys get his great bow trained on you and he's about to fire, one of them won't attack. Like one of them will wait until the great bow's fired, and then the 2 of them that are in front will attack at the same time. It's really strange how they've managed to work this out. They've programmed the AI so that 3 of them won't attack at once, and that kind of takes some of the intimidation out of a triple threat boss when there's only really 2 threats at a time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we mentioned this in our top 10 worst bosses video, which you should totally check. Shameless self plug. Fuck up, it's my own channel, I can do what I want. But yeah, you guys should like definitely watch that, because this is like all the best part. This is like the worst part of PvP with none of the fun of sending hate mail after.
Yeah, pretty much. The real problem with this boss is that like there's no solid strategy. Because how can there be? Just do a lot of damage and take out the guy with the bow first. That's kinda it, really.
If you remember your Dark Souls 1 days, then forget, because Havel can't be parried the same way. He's a fucking pain in the ass in this game because parries are stupid and random. And yes, that is correct, because people have tested parry windows, and on the same enemies, hitboxes hit at different times. Sometimes before the weapon hits you, sometimes after the weapon hits you, and you have to parry the hitbox, not the weapon model. So
you may want to actually kill the Alva guy first, because he can bleed you. That may be a thing that I just didn't do.
Yeah.
So, you know, because Havel's obviously a bit slower than him, so that might be a thing actually.
I usually go for Havel because he's much easier to backstab, and you can take Havel out a lot quicker with crits. And while you're in crits, you take much more, like, you take reduced damage. Because, yeah, be attacked in an animation where you can't defend yourself from stuff, that's great as well. But yeah, there you go. Bled in an instant, essentially. 3 L1s.
Yeah.
This guy's going L1 warrior.
I know. So I mean, it's really irritating that we can't give any more sort of in-depth.
It's just a gank. Survive it is essentially the only advice we have.
I mean, really, because the whole point of this was that you come in with 2 of your friends and then you all take 1 each and you all have fun that way.
Yeah, and that's why when you summon 2 people, it has the equivalent health of about 3 bosses.
Yeah, and
because
that's
then
why
you've all got your own individual boss.
And yeah, exactly. And then that's why, like, you know, if you do it yourself, it just isn't fun, essentially.
Yeah, it's just a PvE gank, but the guys have 5 times as much HP as actual gankers.
Exactly.
And twice the damage. Perfect.
So, I mean, yeah, you just need to deal with that. So, there we go. There's your reward for all that fucking effort.
Now you can show everyone in the arena how much of a hippie you are.
And Blackweed Bam, whatever. And that...
Perfect.
And that is it.
And that takes us back to the elevator where you drop down to get the Dark Greatsword.
Yep, and this is like, this just takes you down to the lift that leads up to the bonfire.
Yeah, like that's you guys done. That's Shulva the Sanctum City. That's every item that we're aware of. Needless to say, there was no guide for this, so if we have missed an item, please do let us know so we can annotate it in at the relevant time.
But I'm pretty sure that is everything.
I hope that's everything, but we're not so sure about these ones because, of course, there was no guide.
Yeah,
there was no outline. Yeah, this is just our experience, hopefully paying off.
Yeah, just scouting every single.
You just got like every single armor. So
that
hopefully didn't miss anything. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
So you just got to break them all, grab all items, and just keep moving.
You realise the ganker boss. They will eventually kill them. Got NG+7 and realise why they do this weird lunge attack.
So
and
click the left box if you want to take that part 1 of this guide, and click the right box. Just wait to see what happens with the second DLC. You'll be like, what the fuck is E? Like, it is unbelievable what happens. Like, so Facebook knows on Twitter.
There is an item in here on the right. There's like a little pile of bones. That's the inner sanctum key. We're busy people, alright. We'll get like what you want to paid sponsorships to like plant keys.
We really aren't busy.
This is a paid advertisement for the guy furthest away. Dark Souls 2 is going to die when it comes out.
I don't think so, but
I don't think so.
Anyway, we'll see you in the room tower. See you then. Bye guys.
You need that to access there and to get the lightning clutch ring.
So they just sit here, by the way. Normally they would chase you and then like do jump attacks and fall into the pits.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is some 10 out of 10 AI there.
No. So you can also pick up the Sanctum.
So that's what the Sanctum repeater crossbow looks like, by the way. The special attack.
Yeah, it's really good. Now these guys have retarded poise, like retarded poise.
Oh yeah. This is a 2-handed greatsword with stone ring and it isn't breaking their poise in 2 hits. So that is some pretty damn high poise. It's like over 100. That's like over 170 poise.
Yeah, ideally what you want to be doing is backstabbing these guys with a res.